Signs and symptoms of concussion generally show up soon after the injury, but the full effect of the injury may not be noticeable at first, and some symptoms may not show up for hours or days. For example, in the first few minutes, the athlete might be slightly confused or appear a little bit dazed, but an hour later, they can't recall coming to the game. So assess the player, then assess the player again. Make sure that the athlete is supervised for at least 1 or 2 hours after you suspect the concussion. Also, talk to the athlete's parents right away about watching for symptoms at home and when the athlete returns to school.
Well, the issue of concussions in youth sports is important because you're talking about a potential threat to the development of that youngster's brain. And certainly their brain is what is going to drive their development, their livelihood, their learning, their social interaction, and all those things are critically important. Anything that potentially affects that in a negative way has to be fully reckoned with and dealt with.
The key is to keep a list of concussion signs and symptoms on hand to use while repeatedly checking on your athlete with a suspected concussion. You can download CDC's Heads Up app or materials with concussion signs and symptoms so you have it with you at all games and practices. At any time during this course, you can click on the Resource Center and a navigation clipboard to view these and other resources. If the signs or symptoms get worse, you need to consider it a medical emergency. In rare concussion cases, a dangerous blood clot may form on the brain and squeeze the brain against the skull. Call 911 or take the athlete to the emergency department right away if after a bump, blow, or jolt to the head or body, the athlete exhibits one or more of the following danger signs. One pupil larger than the other, drowsiness or inability to wake up, a headache that gets worse and does not go away, weakness, numbness, or decreased coordination, repeated vomiting or nausea, slurred speech, convulsions or seizures, inability to recognize people or places, increasing confusion, restlessness, or agitation, unusual behavior, or loss of consciousness. Even a brief loss of consciousness should be taken seriously.